Broly is one of the most beloved characters in the Dragon Ball franchise. In fact, he was so beloved and profitable that Toei took it upon themselves to feature Broly in 3 films that were titled Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, Broly Second Coming, and Bio Broly. But what makes Broly so special? Is it his seemingly limitless power, or his thirst for revenge against Goku for something so traumatizing that he remembers it decades later? In today's video, we will be discussing Broly's character and whether or not he was actually a good villain. So before we begin, I would like to mention that I am in no way, shape, or form trying to alienate any of my subscribers that happen to be fans of Broly. So please do not take anything I say personally, and if you happen to disagree, let me know why instead of rushing to the dislike button. We are all entitled to opinions, and I would love to hear yours along with any counter arguments you may make in regards to anything I say in this video. Now that that's out of the way, Broly's backstory is interesting to say the least. As I alluded to earlier, Broly's story is a pretty easy one to understand. Born on the same day as Goku, with a power level of 10,000, he was terrorized by the wails of a newborn Goku. Broly's power was so massive that King Vegeta feared the warrior Broly would eventually become, so he ordered an assassination. As fate would have it, that same day Planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frieza. Baby Broly was able to subconsciously erect a barrier that protected he and his father Paragus from the explosion. And that in its entirety is Broly's backstory. It's simple enough to understand why Broly would have a grudge against Goku, but the problem is with the Broly character himself. His entire backstory did too much to humanize him. It felt as though they were trying to tell a tragic story with a character that was anything but tragic. Broly himself lacks substance. Despite being semi-assassinated then tossed out like yesterday's trash, Broly seems to care about nothing but Goku. Now, you could say that is because the Saiyans ultimately were done in, so he has no reason to harbor a grudge against the Saiyans as a race, but wouldn't it make more sense for Broly to have resentment for Vegeta the same way his father did? Logically, the more significant event was the fact that Broly was supposed to die at the order of King Vegeta, but he chose to harbor everlasting grudge against Goku that quite frankly isn't even warranted. Not to mention that Broly himself should not even remember the event regardless of how traumatic it was for him. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Let me know if you guys can remember anything from when you were a baby. A lot of people have speculated that Broly essentially looks at Goku as the root cause for all of the bad things that have happened to him early on. As if Goku's crying sent off a chain of unfathomable events, what I say to them is that you're overcomplicating Broly. It is undeniable that Broly is an incredibly strong character, but what else does he have going for him? He's not conniving, clever, or tactful, nor does he do anything more than flail his muscles around. Broly is actually quite the tease if you think about it. If he was less reliant on his overwhelming power and actually thought before he proceeded, his fight scenes would have been all the more enjoyable. Now, don't get me wrong, Broly as a character was actually semi-smart to say the least in the first movie, but afterwards he essentially got dumbed down to the only thing he can say is Kakarot. Blinded by revenge, the reality is that Broly clocks in as nothing more than a mindless, sadistic maniac. As far as backstories go, Broly happens to have one of the most simplistic backstories in the Dragon Ball franchise to date. Now that's either a good thing or a bad thing, but there is no substance to the Broly character, so he winds up being little more than a powerhouse, and as we all know, the all muscle, no brains motif lost its luster long ago. In conclusion, Broly as a character would have been a lot more impactful and made a lot more sense if his motives were more in line with those of his father. It's almost as if Toei did not think that the Dragon Ball fans cared about the complexities of a well-told story. Either that, or they didn't think we'd be able to handle it, because there is still a large chunk of the fan base that only cares about action, muscles, and fighting. Broly's only true value comes in video games, where he is always amongst the strongest playable characters. But aside from video games where the strongest characters are all the rage, Broly is nothing more than a poorly written character. So that has been my video for today, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of Broly as a villain in the Dragon Ball franchise. I also wanted to know what one thing you would change about the Broly character if you could. Also, please be sure to check out my other channel, which will be linked in the description down below. I do all of my Pokemon stuff over there, and that is also my backup channel in case anything ever happens to this channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DFreeDBZHD to stay up to date with the channel, and every time that there's new news, you guys will be the first ones to get it. That's it for me, guys. Peace out.